Alright, we're back working on the Civic again. Bought some stuff at the Junkyard that I'm hoping will fix it, and that would be this. So I ended up buying the whole throttle body, but we really only need this ICV. I'm really hoping that this will fix the issue. If you remember, we tried cleaning the ICV that's currently on the car and that didn't work, so we're gonna try this one. We got this, and then we also got this overflow tank, and the one that's in the car inside of it is absolutely disgusting, and this one looks pretty good. Now the car that I got these off of looked like it was really well maintained. It had a brand new air filter, looked like brand new plugs, distributor, all kinds of new maintenance related stuff. So I felt pretty good about pulling these parts off of that car. So we're gonna get it installed and see what happens. Quick little side note here. One of the issues with this ICV, this is the throttle body. I just pulled it off of the car. We did break that bolt. I would assume that there's a little bit of a leak there now. So we're just gonna go ahead and replace the entire throttle body, all the sensors along with it. Hopefully that solves our issue. Yeah, we're gonna throw the new throttle body in and plug everything up and see what happens. Also, I'm not gonna remove this ICV and clean it. Maybe afterwards I will, but for right now I'm not going to. Everything's swapped over, plugged in, ready to go, so we're gonna start it up and see what happens. Ever since we cleaned the old one, car has a lot more trouble starting than it did before, so we'll see if that's fixed now. Alright, so it still had a lot of trouble starting. I'm thinking that the fuel filter is kind of pretty clogged up with all the crap that's been coming out of the fuel tank from the car sitting for 5 years. But I got the car started and it's idling perfect right now. Way lower than it was on a cold start before. So we're just gonna let it warm up and see if it'll surge. It sounds literally perfect now. The idle is still a little bit choppy, but that's probably, a little bit to do with plugs and plug wires and all that stuff. We'll get to that later. I just want to make sure that it's going to idle normal, and it seems like it's doing just that. I'm still crossing my fingers. Car's not fully warmed up yet, so we're as of right now, it's noticeably different. Before, when you would cold start the car, it would idle super high. I would guess somewhere around 2,000 RPM. Now when I cold started, I would say probably around 1,200, 1,100-ish, that area. And now that the car's past the cold start, it's idling pretty low. I'd say 700, 800. So it seems normal, but we just have to let the car warm up and see if it is going to surge like it has been doing. I'm gonna hope and pray that it doesn't, because if that ICV was the issue, then we'll be golden and we can get to work on this car. Well, we've let the car idle for about 10 minutes now, and as you can hear, it is idling exactly where it needs to be. Everything's good. It's still a little bit of a rough idle. Obviously, we're gonna have to do some maintenance on this thing. Definitely plugs, plug wires, fuel filter, all that good stuff, air filter. But I mean, that's it. The surging idle has been solved. Just to do a little bit of a recap, for those of you who are going through the same issue as I am, you will probably understand how incredibly annoying this is, dealing with a surging idle. But for me personally, the steps that I took, I usually try to start with things that are free or very, very low cost, i.e. bleeding the cooling system and cleaning out the ICV and the throttle body that was originally on it. So if I were you, those are the two things that I would do first. I would raise the front end of the car on ramps and bleed the cooling system, and then I would clean your IACV and your throttle body if bleeding it doesn't work, and from there I would go into replacing parts. Now, me personally, I would not buy an off-brand IACV. Apparently they're not any good. Really all you would want to buy is an OEM one, but the OEM ones are like 120, upwards of $200. So what I did, went to a junkyard and I just bought the whole throttle body off of the same car. I actually bought it off of a 98, so I'm assuming it'll work 96 through 2000. But I bought the same throttle body. It had the IACV, whatever this sensor is, I'm not really sure, the TPS sensor. This was $48. Well, this is the old one, but the new one's on the car. But it cost me $48 at LKQ. I found like 3 or 4 different Civics that had them. I just went with the one that looked the best. And for $48, the car is idling beautifully. And I think we're gonna go for a test drive. So let's give it a shot, see how it drives. Okay, we are on the road. Don't get me wrong, I love my RS, but buying a car that you've always wanted to own and putting the work into it to get it to run properly and be drivable, this is sweet. Look at that. I don't know what that was. A little weird. It's idling super low now, like it's almost about to stall out. The idle is really low right now. I wish I had a freaking tack to monitor where it is, but I don't know what the deal was. But when I was coming down this road over here, I didn't floor it, but I gave it a decent amount of gas, and it downshifted and we were going, and then it kind of bounced off the rev limiter, and it didn't really sound like I was anywhere near red line range, but maybe I was, and I'm just not used to how Hondas operate or anything. But other than that, and the fact that the car's idling super low now, it's idling super low, but it's pretty steady. I mean, it's idling steady, it's just a little choppy, which could have a lot to do with spark plugs and fuel filter and all that good stuff. But there it is, guys. The Civic is now idling perfectly fine. We do have some more work to do to it, obviously, just to get it in much better shape. I'm thinking that this front tire has a slow leak because it looks a little low, and I could feel it when I was driving. We'll check the pressure in a minute, but yeah, I mean, we fixed it. It's running good. Just got to do a little bit of maintenance on it, and then we'll go ahead and start working on it, getting it cleaned up first of all, and then, you know, figuring out where we can improve. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully if you have the same idle issue, this video will help you solve it. I'm really glad that I was able to get it figured out. That's going to be it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.